Now, fans around the world are remembering the godfather of world music. Ravi Shankar died Wednesday at age 92. With his sitar, he brought Eastern music to the West and influenced generations of composers and musicians. Here's a sample of the legendary musician playing the sitar. Well, it looks like we don't have the music of Ravi Shankar. But anyway, joining us today now is VOA's own Brian Q. Silver, an ethnomusicologist and former world music curator who knew Ravi Shankar pretty well. You met him on several occasions.
Met him on several occasions, had the good fortune to interview him. And there was one wonderful Sunday morning where my wife and I had a good hour's conversation with him and his wife, Sukanya. And Anushka came and went in the course of the conversation.
Now, Ravi Shankar is known for, or is also called the father of sitar, popularizing sitar, which is the instrument that you're holding here. You've been playing this for a long time.
48 years.
48 years. Tell us a little bit about the sitar. What is unique about it?
Well, the sitar is, first of all, it's made from a gourd. So you can actually see this is where the stem of the gourd would be. It's a closed resonating chamber. It has two different bridges here. One for playing and the other one for sympathetic strings which vibrate in resonance.
It looks a little like a guitar, but
it's similar to a guitar. The technique, though, is if you're playing it on a guitar, you can go across the neck because the strings are set up in a certain way. On this style of sitar, the first 4 notes can be played to 3 notes on this string and then 2 octaves all the way up to a higher note. The style of sitar that Ravi Shankar had a lower octave, so he was able to play the lower notes.
It's quite amazing. I've been seeing a lot of clips of him playing, and it can really be energizing, and it fills crowds. People have been showing up at theaters to watch him play, and also his daughter, yet they don't sing. They play
the tradition of classical music in India and Pakistan, South Asia, is fundamentally vocal music. But there's usually a clear differentiation between the vocalists and the instrumentalists. So to some extent, the sitar can be played in imitation of vocal music, but they're basically the two different operations are kept apart. It helps if you know vocal music to play the sitar.
So tell us why Ravi Shankar is associated with the worldwide spread of the information about the sitar. Yet he credits George Harrison, the Beatles, and some big concert that was held, the benefit concert back in 1971 for Bangladesh, which he said that also brought Bangladesh to the world.
Exactly. Well, actually, the odyssey of the sitar coming to the West began in 1955 when Yehudi Menuhin, the late great classical Western violinist, brought the 2 of the major musicians, Ravi Shankar, but even before that with the late Ustad Ali Akbar Khan. So they were performing and concertizing well before the phenomenon of the Beatles. But the thing about Ravi Shankar was he was a great musical ambassador. He took great joy in playing, and he shared that joy with the audiences. Plus, when you get into the faster portions, they can be quite spectacular. And in the course of a performance, there is a gradual buildup of tension from slow to fast, from simple to complex, and from lower to higher. So by the end of a program, when the drum comes in, the two-part drum called the tabla, it can be very fast and very exciting, and that's one of the things that has captured the Western crowds.
And you also mentioned about something, how the sitar is a unifying religious factor.
Classical music in South Asia, in the subcontinent, in fact, is the product of centuries really of interaction between Hindus and Muslims, whereas often there have been tensions, even the great 1947 separation of India and Pakistan. The musical culture itself has represented a unifying force, and it's one of those cases where it can be a force for good, and one message to the African community would be music can bring people together when they otherwise have differences.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Brian Q. Silver of VOA. Maybe you can strum a little note as we say goodbye to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, and that's our show for today. Have a good night.